Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everyone here on this beautiful day, and thank you for deciding to spend some time with us today. We're grateful to have Lizzie Miller doing music today, Michael Contras at the keyboard. Let's thank them both for being here. Wonderful, always wonderful. And thank anyone who joined us online. Good to have you with us. And thanks to everyone for your ongoing support of the church. Keeps us humming along here, and we are truly grateful for your ongoing tithes and donations. I always like to just mention a few things so you know what's coming up and what you might want to take advantage of. Those of you who are regular yogis probably know Gentle Yoga with Yogi Tamara is on a temporary hold right now while she's supporting a family member dealing with a health situation. So we are keeping her and her family in prayer, the Leaper family. And we'll let you know when weekly yoga returns. It might be a week or two, we shall see. Elizabeth Betzel is going to be facilitating a gathering. It's called a Circle of Trust here at the church on Tuesday, September 30th. I think about 1:30. It's details are on a flyer in the back and the sign-up sheet, and it's on a donation basis, like most of our workshops. And those of you who know Ricky Byers and her wonderful music, she was at Agape in California for many, many years, and the wonderful music she put out with her huge gospel choir and all her solo music, lots of CDs and so on. Unity of Cincinnati is hosting her for a Ricky Byers Revival Weekend, November 7 and 8, and there's details about that on a flyer on the bulletin board in the back room. And one other workshop opportunity, an Active Hope workshop by a facilitator from Athens, Ohio, Joe Delamore. If you're familiar with the work of Joanna Macy at all, and these workshops she calls the work that reconnects us with each other and with the earth, that's what this Active Hope workshop is like. It's about facing the challenges in the world around us with courage, resilience, and active hope. Flyers with more details are on the back table. We've shifted to that back table with workshop information and class information. It's a little different than our usual workshops in that there's a set fee for it. She has a sliding scale of $50 to $100 for whatever you can afford in that range. And it's a 4-hour workshop. It's 10 to 2 on Saturday, November 1st. And the registration deadline is October 18. So give that a think if you are interested in that. And finally, our Fall Coffee House is scheduled for November 21st. November 21st, Friday, November 21st, 7 o'clock. So think about it. If there's a song you'd like to sing, a poem you'd like to read, a magical act you'd like to demonstrate, whatever it is, we're open to it. It's always a fun time, and we sort of try to make the sanctuary as much like a coffee house as possible. So keep that in mind. And I think that's about it. So we'll take a breath and begin to think about who or what we are lifting up in prayer, and Lizzie will lead us into prayer with Surely the Presence.
Glory
these quiet moments of prayer, we remember that presence that indwells all living things. All across the earth, all living things are imbued with this presence, this love, this energy, this power. And we are deeply connected to that web of life. We are a part of the nature of Earth, of the universe around us, one with God and one with one another. How grateful we are to know this truth this morning, that not one of us is separate, not one is disconnected. We are one in the power and presence of God. We affirm that truth for everyone in our sanctuary this morning, both here and afar. All living beings across the globe, not one is disconnected from the web of life we are all a part of, and the God power and presence that enfolds us here. How grateful we are to know we are one with the living God, and all is well. And so it is. Amen. All right, we have another song. You've got a friend first? Yeah. Okay, James Taylor fans, enjoy this.
Going right.
lovely. Thank you so much. That's a favorite of mine. I love that song. All right. Come, sit, relax. Talking about, my title is We Are the Ark today, and I'll tell you more about what that means in a moment. But so I'm going to be mentioning other species and other animals and so on. So I was trying to think of good jokes about this. I'm hoping I'm going to remember this one correctly. I think it's one of my favorites. Jen already knows what I'm talking about. It's a woman goes to the vet. She has a really sick parrot that she's really worried about. Really sick parrot. So she goes to the vet. And the vet takes a look at it, and in no time at all, he says, I'm sorry, this parrot is on its way out. Sorry, nothing I can do. And the woman says, well, gosh, aren't there some tests you can do or something? It's kind of. So he goes, well, all right. So he opens the door. And he says, have Oscar come in. This black Labrador retriever comes in at the door of and it kind of looks and sniffs around that parrot, and he leaves, and she said, and okay, bring in Bella, and then this cat comes in, sniffs all around that parrot, and kind of looks at the vet and leaves, and the vet says, yeah, I'm sorry, that confirms it. This parrot is on its way out. I'm sorry. And she said, oh, all right. Well, what do I owe you? And he said, well, it'll be $280. And she said, what? And he said, well, it was going to be 40, but after the lab report and the CAT scan. I like that one myself. All right, those tests are expensive. Okay, talking about We Are the Ark is my title. Been pondering our interconnection and interdependence a lot, really all life on Earth. I had a talk a couple of weeks ago called In This Together. We're really kind of reflecting on how we need each other, we belong to each other, we're all interconnected. So in a way, this is just sort of an expansion of that to include other living beings across the globe. And it seems good timing. This is a powerful weekend, powerful time in the year. The seasons are changing. Tomorrow is the fall equinox. I don't know how they gauge these things, but apparently at 2:19 p.m. tomorrow, it becomes fall in the northern hemisphere. First day of autumn. So we're right on the cusp. Seasonal changes, this amazing rhythm of life on Earth. Seems a good time to kind of expand our range a little bit. It's certainly a time of pretty dire need for a recognition of our interconnection with all life on the planet, all species of life. I get a lot of environmental org newsletters and updates and things like that. According to a UN environment program, the Earth is in the midst of a mass extinction. Scientists say 150 to 200 species of plant, insect, bird, and mammals become extinct every 24 hours. It's from habitat loss and pesticide use and toxins of various kinds. And it's many times the natural rate of that kind of thing happening. Around 15% of mammal species, 11% of birds are classified as threatened by extinction. So in a very literal way, to keep life thriving on planet Earth for all of us, we do need to become the Ark. We are the Ark. There's a wonderful gardener woman, a master gardener, by the name of Mary Reynolds. She has an ongoing blog, I think, or podcast. She calls herself Wild Mary. But she won gardening shows, a prestigious one in England. She's from Ireland, I believe now is where she lives. And over the years, she became really switched gears into, it's all about rewilding now, that we need to be the Ark. And she uses Ark as sort of an acronym for, I left some flyers about her work and her org on the back table back there. Acts of restorative kindness is kind of how the acronym she uses, but it's really very much about stepping up to help support all life on Earth in all life forms. So she's a very strong proponent of giving our gardens and our yards back to nature as much as we can. She advocates, can you give half your yard back to nature? Let it rewild. get rid of invasive stuff and let the seeds that are probably still there of native plants rise up. If you can't do half, she says, whatever you can do. Can you do a border? Can you do part of your land? Can you give it back to nature and rewild it? Because it represents tremendous nourishment for all the life forms around us, for the insects and the birds and the mammals all around us. I think it's a really important time for us to remember that our interconnection with the living web of life includes all species on Earth. It's something we really need to reflect more on and remember. It's certainly always been embedded in our spiritual traditions and religions around the world. We don't often think about that, but it's really built into all the leading faith traditions, I think. In Hinduism, animals are definitely revered. In the Vedas, spiritual books, there's only one present, one source of consciousness they call Brahman, and it's described in the Upanishads as the supreme existence or absolute reality, the eternal, conscious, infinite, omnipresent, spiritual core of the universe, Brahman. We would call that God. Same concept, same concept. And that this consciousness is limitless, and it manifests as the very presence in all things. The air we breathe, the light of the sun, oceans, rivers, mountains, forests, humans, and animals are all manifestations of Brahman, of God. Certainly a very common thing in Buddhism, always has been. Animals have always been regarded as sentient beings, as kindred spirits and beings on the earth. In fact, maybe most Buddhists believe in the doctrine of rebirth, which holds that any human could be reborn as an animal, and that any animal could be reborn as a human, sentient beings, all sentient beings. And beings currently living in the animal realm could have been our mothers, brothers, sisters, friends. I think that's interesting. Ultimately, humans and animals are part of a single family, they say in Buddhism. They are all interconnected. We certainly have plenty of evidence of recognition of our interconnection with other species on the planet in Christianity. Certainly a part of the creation story in Genesis. God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth. And the Noah's Ark story, of course, is all about we need to preserve all life on earth, all species, so that we all will thrive. Our interdependence isn't just human beings. We need us all. I always liked to think about that when I was a kid. On that ark, there were snakes and fireflies and turtles and birds and mosquitoes and fleas and elephants. They were all on there so that life may thrive on planet Earth in perpetuity. Of every living thing, of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Of the birds, of the animals, according to their kinds, of every creeping thing on the ground, 2 of every kind shall come into you, to keep them alive. That's a powerful scripture about the importance of us all in the web of life to enable the earth to continue to thrive. So it's kind of a God-ordained thing in Christianity as well. We are in this together, not only with other humans or a few species we like, but with all other life forms. All must thrive for any of us to thrive. I think it's very evident that we must really learn to live in a way that makes room for other species, a sustainable way, a gentler way, in whatever ways we can. And I believe a lot of people are doing that kind of work, becoming more interested in rewilding properties they have, in recycling and composting, and being gentler and avoiding the toxins and the poisons. All of that is, and the buzzword everywhere now in nature organizations and preserves is biodiversity. We need everybody. We need all species for it to work. And it's a web of life out there. And we all are a part of that. And we all draw strength and energy from that and comfort from it. I wanted to share a little story I read in a book by Joanna Macy called Coming Back to Life. But she retells the story of young King Arthur and drawing a sword out of the Excalibur. You remember the Excalibur out of the stone? It's T.H. White wrote the story, The Sword in the Stone, that she was talking about. But in his early life, this young king, before he was king, young Arthur, studied with the wizard Merlin. Any of you remember some of the bits of this story? And Merlin was a very talented wizard, magician, and he kind of trained Arthur for mastery and for becoming a leader. And he had many gifts, Merlin, but he was a shapeshifter. He could take other shapes of other animals and species, and he could enable others to do that as well. He was a masterful magician. And so part of Arthur's training as a young man was he would have him temporarily become another animal for a while. Make him a carp in a river, or a badger in a field, or a falcon, or a wild goose. And he would temporarily be embodied in those life forms for a while. So the time came when the new king of all England was to be chosen, and it would be he who could draw the sword Excalibur from the stone. And all the famous knights who came to the great tournament went to the churchyard in London where the stones mysteriously stood, and they tried mightily to pull the sword out that was embedded in it. Heaving and sweating, they competed to prove their superior strength. The sword did not budge, and they walked away, went back to their jousting, frustrated and exhausted. Arthur, who was just a teenager, lingered behind and went up to the stone to try his own luck, and at first he couldn't do it. He pulled with all his strength, and he couldn't do it. He remained immobile. But glancing around, he saw in the shrubbery surrounding the churchyard the forms of those with whom he had lived and learned. And there they were, badger, falcon, ant, others, that he had lived as them, and he felt that he recognized them, and he looked at them, he greeted them with his eyes, and he opened again to the powers and intelligence he had perceived in each of them: industry, strength, cunning, quick boldness, perseverance. Knowing they were with him, he turned back to the stone, and breathing easily, drew out the sword as smooth as a knife through butter. Isn't that a great little story? Love that. So kind of the idea of the story is that whatever challenges we're facing individually or as a people, as a global people, whatever trial, that if we can kind of remember and draw on the strength of all the creatures around us and what we learn from them and our connection with them, who has been kind of in the bushes in your life, people too, but also animals, that we're all in this together. And we can draw on the insight, the courage, the intelligence all around us, and are meant to. The gifts, we all receive gifts from the web of life and are meant to share them with one another. So I was pondering that this day about who was in the bushes of my life. Animals, as certainly many people, mentors, teachers, guides, but also pets and animals, wildlife that I've had interactions with over the years. I had a wonderful ginger cat named Wally for years. He was like my co-adventurer. He was a very adventurous cat, lots of dangerous expeditions. One night he spent all the way up a tree because he must have run up there in flight from something. And he spent all night up there until mid-morning the next day after vigorous searching and borrowing a step ladder, extension ladder. I got up there and plucked that cat down on my shoulder and came back down. He was my adventurer. He gazed at me fondly all the rest of the day. I'm home. And I had a dream about him once, that he was perched on my shoulder and we were on a wild boat ride. And that cat was right here, like a parrot on a pirate's shoulder. Something about that spirit in him that I drew upon. He was my co-adventurer. I think we have relationships like this, and we have them with wildlife too. I was remembering an animal story from a number of years ago. We had a really bad ice storm in the winter, icy, snow-covered everything. It was like crunchy, really hard to walk on. And we were seeing that summer, or that winter, a three-legged doe and her fawn. And they were routinely around the house. Three-legged deers get along better than you might imagine. But she knew that ice was something she couldn't navigate. It was just too hard to move around through that. And she and her offspring, her fawn, camped out near the house, right up against the house, under our windows. And the feeder was right there, a few feet away, and she spent a few days with us. She and her her youngster. And during the night, I'd get up and I'd see them out there. They'd be kind of grooming each other a little bit. And they hung out with us while, as long as it was dangerous like that to move around. And I felt a connection with them. They were like extended family up against the walls of our house, hanging out with us. I felt honored that we were trusted. We were a safe place they could be. It got a thrill for a couple little granddaughters came by. It was Christmas. They came by on Christmas morning, and the deer were still out there by the house, and they were like, reindeer, reindeer. It was an excitement for them and a little taste of wildlife this close by. What a treat, what a gift that is. That's something you remember. And the intelligence that we witnessed in them. The intelligence, the trust, the wisdom. They knew a safe place to hunker down there. They left when they knew it was safe to move. We gain from these interactions, don't we? So I think it's a time that it's really will benefit us greatly to really think about how can we honor our connection with the earth and all its inhabitants more. It's so much needed right now. Wild Mary in her ark work, I do have some of those flyers at the back. She just, really kind of says, if you'll be amazed what will come up if you leave a strip to give something back to nature in our yards, in our gardens, wherever. Stop weeding them, let them rewild. Resist the tendency to pull out that thistle. Thistle's a pretty good plant for wildlife. All the goldenrod, all the various herbs and weeds and things that come up naturally. Nature will flourish in every little corner, every little border or edge we give it. And the wildlife will be waiting, the butterflies, the birds, the bees, the bunnies, to come back into our communities. I was thinking on the way in, the old hotel that used to be over here next to the church, whose name I cannot remember. Circle L. It was there for decades and decades, and finally somebody bought that property a few years ago and just tore it all down. Have you seen it lately? It's flourishing. It's like covered in these nourishing weeds and goldenrod and things for wildlife. I bet there's a lot of wildlife that dwells in that property right now, and nobody had to do anything. Nature took it over and is bringing it back. The rewards are tremendous, I think, when we participate in that process as stewards of creation, as co-adventurers and co-seekers, and helping each other to thrive, including all the creatures around us. The rewards are tremendous, and I think we really feel it. We may forget. We get so focused, on what we're doing and what our obligations. But we can all experience the gifts of that kind of interconnection with the wildlife around us and the world around us. We've been in such a drought lately. I know many of you gardeners have dealt with that as I have. It's difficult. And I've tried not to overwater because I know that's not a good thing to do, especially when there's a water shortage going on. But we do maintain our bird baths, a couple of bird baths and bird feeders to provide a little support. And once in a while, I'll put up a sprinkler and I'll just watch from the window the birds come out to enjoy that. We had like 3 or 4 cardinals just basking in the flow of that sprinkler a couple of days ago, perched and kind of preening, turning this way and that, soaking up that nourishment of that wonderful water. And when I notice something like that, I just feel blessed beyond measure. I bet some of you have had similar feelings where when you're kind of stewarding with, supporting the life around you, it comes back as a great blessing. And it is, when we're engaged in interconnections like that, it's nurturing for all of us, for us personally and for our world. We feel it, and we feel that interconnection more and more deeply the more we do it. We are indeed in this together, all of us, on this ark called planet Earth. Amen? Yeah, let's take that into prayer for a moment and just hold that in our hearts and our minds. Our awareness that we are one with all living beings in the web of life, that we are stewards and protectors and participants in this web of creation, and we have an intention to support life everywhere around us, that we may all thrive for decades and decades to come. How grateful we are for this powerful life energy of God in us that makes all things possible. We are grateful. So it is. Amen. All right, Lizzie and Michael are going to do another favorite song of mine, which is another James Taylor song, Shower the People.
Called the Grim Reapers. Yes, yeah. And that's how I view my little scooter. But anyhow, thank you, Julian. It was a wonderful message. And the memorial service for Dorothy yesterday certainly showed how we're all interconnected. There were so many unbelievable connections. Dorothy had her job at Bank One, Unity at Mays Road, Unity here. It was really very touching to hear all the connections. And,
her love of animals too, and
right.
those she shared that with. Yeah,
a lot of pictures of Jack, Hannah, and Dorothy.
That's true.
It was really, it was amazing. Anyhow, thank you, Joanne, for the wonderful message today, and thank you, Lizzie and Michael.
yeah.
For the music. And Joe did a great job. Barbie and Candy for the gathering today. They kicked me out of the kitchen. And of course, thank you everyone for your tithes and donations today to keep the whole thing going. We're very grateful. Just a reminder, no yoga till further notice. And then Elizabeth Betzel, is it a week from
September 30th.
excuse me, September 30th. It sounds like a really good workshop. So, Liz, do you have anything you want to say about it?
It's just, you're of course invited to come, and it's an opportunity to develop the skill of deep listening to yourself and to others, to skill acquiring, opening up to the people wisdom. Nice to practice. I'm really excited about that. It'll be seasonal based, so we'll be looking at autumn.
Okay, great. Put it on our calendars. Thank you. And then, let's see, Ricky Byers will be in Cincinnati, Unity of Cincinnati, November 7th through 8th. Again, the flyers and sign-up sheets have been moved over to that table. They were over there, now they're over there. And then, and don't forget the coffee house on Friday, November 21st. The little Sues have to get cracking. At least now or some.
All right, good.
Are there any other announcements? Paul?
Yeah, we want to thank Jim Smith for some work he's been doing around the church here. Put in a new outside light. We'll really appreciate for the events in November, and of course on Christmas Eve. It'd be nice to have extra lights out there. And also for fixing the sink. Sprayer was leaking, and he was able to cleverly fix that for us. So thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, well, I think it's that time where we gather for the peace song and the prayer for protection.
Thank you, Ms. Beth.
Does that have reverse?
I wish it, I think it's forward only. Good job. I like that Grim Reaper reference.
Thank you.